Hello everybody, thanks for stopping by Greg's Beer Reviews today. Let's go see what's in the fridge today. Alright guys, thanks for stopping by Greg's Beer Reviews today. Today's beer hopefully is a treat. Anytime you see one of these bottles that's got the wax coating on it, that means it's usually a pricey beer, and usually, you can't always judge it, but usually they're pretty decent beers, but you have to go through the hassle of getting all this wax off the bottle. Or at least where the cap is, where you can get a cap opener on it. I mean, it is sealed tight with wax on this one. This is Sierra Nevada's Organic Estate, which is a homegrown ale, and what they mean by that, they grow everything there. I mean, the hops, the barley, everything. Water's on site. They don't import anything. Everything in this beer is produced right there in Chico, California, where they're from. The beer is an American IPA, coming in at 6.70 ABV. Pretty impressive. It's a little on the stronger for that, and it's not to be a double IPA either. It's right on the verge though. Once you get up to around 7 or so, it starts getting into the double range. The beer was brewed once. It's a limited edition release. 2011 on this bottle. I think it's the first time they've done it. I'm not sure, but I think it is. The food pairings for this beer cuisine is the curried and the Thai. The cheeses are the peppery, Monterey, pepperjack, blue, sharp. All your more pungent cheeses will go with this. Even Limburger and Gorgonzola go with this. The meat for this is poultry, fish, shellfish, and salmon, along with all your grilled meats, steaks, chops, burgers. All that go with it. The glassware is a pint, becker, stein, a mug. Not anything you want to pour it in. Just pour it into something. And this is the big bottle, as you can see here. It's a 22 ounce, I think. And the beer, being a 6.70, it would cellar for a little while, but it's a hoppy beer, so you're not wanting to cellar this. So while I'm wiping my gums here, let me see how hard this wax is to get off. It looks like it's going to be tough. Guys, I'm going to pause this and get this wax off. I'll be right back. Alright guys, finally got all that off there, got it all cleaned off. Sierra, you didn't need to do that with that wax. I don't know what the deal is that, whether they think that's going to make it more airtight, or they're having a problem with it keeping the seal on it or not. But wax is a PIA, pain in the eyes. Get the cap off of this. It looks like a torpedo cap. It's just a green Sierra Nevada cap. Alright guys, get that bottle where you can see it. That pours a very tangerine, amber, not quite to the reddish tint, but it is a very amber tangerine color. I didn't pour it super aggressive because I didn't want a monster head. Looks pretty good in the glass. A lot of bubbles streaming up. Looks like it's carbonated pretty good. Very clear. You can see the light right through it. Let's get a nose on this one. Wow. A lot of hops in this one. I mean, this is basically what a wet hopped ale is, which is usually, or which is using the fresh hop cones, not dried out or any of that kind of stuff, fresh off the vine into the beer. So very citrusy, West Coast style. You got the piney, grapefruit. You got a little bit of the caramel with the malt in there too. Very interesting. It doesn't smell like their northern or southern hemisphere beers either. It's got an earthy smell. I guess it's from the ground right there where they're at. With Chico, California, the ground right there. It says on the bottle it's black dirt. It says what it on the back of the bottle. Here in the sun-drenched fields of California, northern Nevada, the black soil is rich with promise. In winter, rows of barley seed are laid in the freshly tilled dirt. In spring, trellises are set up for the hops. From our fields comes a remarkable homegrown ale made with organic wet hops and barley grown at our brewery here in Chico, and one of the few estate-made ales produced anywhere in the world. So, cheers, guys. Very well hopped. I don't want to say balanced, but it's very well hopped. It's got a lot of hops in this. Not as floral as I thought it was going to be. Very tasty though. Very pleasant beer. I'm not real hip on all that wax on the bottle. That's a downgrade. And of course, it's got 2011 Homegrown Ale in there, and you know it's this year. It's from 2011 date, and it's only done once. All you got to do is get on the internet, if you're not familiar with when the Homegrown Ale was done, to find out when they did do it. Still would like to have the date on the bottle somewhere, and it may appear it was right out of the fridge and had a lot of condensation on the bottle. It may have something digitized somewhere on it with the date. Don't see anything on the label here though. I'm a big fan of Sierra Nevada beers, so we've been trying to get them to come to Virginia for a long time, and they're wanting to build a brewery, and I hear they're in Asheville looking around Black Mountain, and in Tennessee they're looking at a site there as well as a site here, so I don't know exactly which way they're headed. I didn't even know they was looking in North Carolina until this past week. I seen that they were down. The executives were spotted down in Asheville, so I don't know how the Asheville brewers would appreciate that somebody's big as Sierra Nevada coming in on them like that. So I don't know how they feel about that. So pretty nice smelling beer, pretty tasty beer. It's not blowing my hair back and my socks off. It's above average beer, but I don't know if it's going to be a 10 beer. So we're going to let it warm up, and I'm going to share some of this. And stick around, I'll be right back and see if this one gets a 10. Alright guys, thanks for sticking around. Got just a little bit left in the little glass here. This is decent beer. It's above average beer. It's not quite to the normal West Coast style that I'm used to. Since all this was grown there, I commend them for doing everything in-house, from the water, the barley. It's probably their own yeast. I mean, they're controlling everything there. They're not relying on anybody else. Self-sufficient. So that's a good thing in today's age. So, final chug, guys. That's a good beer. It is a good beer. Got a nice hop characteristics to it, and just enough malt backbone to balance it out a little bit. So, pretty tasty. I'm gonna give it a 9 on the scale. It's not a 10 beer to me. It's definitely an A beer though. So that's what I'm gonna give it. Rate Beer has a 99 overall and 99 in style, so they're pretty impressed with it. And Beer Advocate comes up with an A-. So I'm right in between there. They're almost at an A+. They're at 99. So it's a decent beer. So it's probably a little on the pricier side, but not a bad representation of a wet ale. All wet, or I call it a wet ale. When I call it a wet ale, it's had the hops, the fresh hops put in instead of being dried out. So pretty tasty beer, guys. So if you've had this, make some comments back on the Estate Homegrown Ale by Sierra Nevada. Fairly tasty beer. I enjoyed it. As always, rate, comment, subscribe, and come back tomorrow. Let's look in the fridge, see what's in there then. Join me then.